You are at Rants Incorporated, where I rant about whatever my $10 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Diamant, who says, "Hey, Digi, please rant about your favorite and or least favorite Evangelion episode and why, not including End of Evangelion." Oh boy. So, my favorite, I really love the first 9 episodes of Evangelion in particular. There's obviously lots of great ones throughout the show, but like the first time I watched it, the ones that had left the most impact were like the insane, violent, crazy, fucking mindfuck shit that happens later in the show. Like episode 16, getting trapped inside the fucking, the black bubble and having to tear its way out. The one where he fucking kills Toji's mech. The one where he, where the Ava rips apart the angel and fucking eats it. Like, those scenes were the ones that left by far the most impact on me the first time I watched the show because they were just so fucking insane. And, the animation's incredible, the visuals are incredible, everything about the way that they are dramatically led up to is perfect. In terms of, like, how the show's story, like how you remember the show's story, I consider those like the best episodes. The big dramatic twists, the crazy stuff that happens, and a lot of the themes of the show really come to the forefront in that period. But it's that coming to the forefront, I guess, is the thing about it. Like those scenes have a ton of impact the first time you see them, and you will always remember them, and they're fun to rewatch, but they don't, like, give you more the next time. It's like, when you see the first episodes again, with the perspective that the rest of the show has given you, you get more out of it, And you keep getting more, because the more you think about these characters, the more that seeing them in their natural state is interesting. Whereas, I think that, maybe this is something that is core to like a difference I have of opinion with other people about media, but like what I get the most out of is scenes of characters interacting. Like that's what I like the most, is like the conversations, the characters bouncing perspectives off of each other, having reactions emotionally, as a result of these interactions. And in the plot of a show, to me, is to facilitate those interactions more so than anything. Like, it's also to facilitate cool moments and, interactions that might be action, centric. But, like, the interaction of two Avas fighting is easy to understand on the first pass, maybe even a few more. There's a lot of detail in every episode of Evangelion. There's a lot of detail in the animation, a lot of stuff that you will only notice as you keep going through it. But, like, just the scenes of the characters interacting, the more believable the characters feel to you, the more meaning will be packed into those interactions when you think about why that character's saying the words they are and what it says about them and how it interacts with the rest of the statements that they've made. So, like, for me, like, the first episode is basically just this really good setup of the tone and ideas, and it's mostly about just, like, the great cinematography and building this setup. And then you get into this sort of little arc of Misato and Shinji trying to understand one another, Shinji trying to come back around to, going to Nerve, and, like, the just insanely humane interactions of Misato and Shinji, the way that all of episode 4 plays out, is, to me, like, a lot of the emotional core of the show is right there in those early episodes. And then the arrival of Asuka, like, the episodes 8 and 9 are the most exciting, the most dense, the most fun. Every fucking image in them is iconic. Everything, every interaction. Like, Asuka makes so much impact in these 2 episodes. It's like no other character in a show before. Like, she just completely steals the show, redefines the whole nature of it, turns it into a different show, essentially. And then, the midsection, though, is my least favorite area. And, like, I think Magma Diver's fun. The day Neo Tokyo Stood Still is fun. They're not, like, as impactful, in my opinion, as, like, the earlier episodes. They're more about the cool action scenes. They're about, like, really fun set pieces and fun interactions and just getting to spend time with these characters, like, together doing normal stuff for a while. Getting like a peek of what this show would be like if there was like a lot of episodes of it, and I think that does a lot to endear you to the show and characters. But like, they're not as like rich as the ones that come before or after. And then the worst episode is definitely the recap, just because it's half the episode is recap and the other half is reused animation. So yeah, it's certainly not the best. But then you start getting into like all the psychological mindfuck shit, and the plot gets really out of control and insane. So I also tend to distinguish the episodes in the second half less, unless they're one of those ones I mentioned, like the big pop moments, just because it is more complex. Like, when you're watching the earlier episodes, they're almost completely episodic. And then in the second half, there's just way more like plot threads weaving in and out of each other, like setups in certain episodes leading to payoffs later. So it's harder to talk about it in terms of individual episodes anyways. Like if I were to continue my Evangelion episodic series, I think I would have to, like consider what combinations of episodes or how I wanted to tackle certain story threads that aren't limited to like singular episodes or just two in a row, two-parters. And then the last two episodes I would also put into like the least favorites category, because like even though they blew my mind to fuck when I was 14, like watching them back, it's so just like intro to like, it feels like a YouTube video about thinking in a thinking like metaphysically, like it's good. They are good episodes in terms of being like interesting product and something had to be done, but like in comparison to what came before, they are just not even remotely close. Like, it's not that I dislike the last two episodes of Eva. I just think that, like, to think of them as being on par with the rest when they're just simply unfinished, And, like, I appreciate that people can like them. You can like them as much as you want, Like, and, or even appreciate the unique way that they handled going about this problem that they had. But, like, a lot of it is just like, color graded photographs of shit around the fucking studio. Like they ran out of shit they could use, It's just like, it's not that I think that that's makes it bad. It's just that like the rest of the show is fucking godly, So how can you even compare the scenes of unmemorable photographs of fucking the studio? I mean, they're memorable in the sense that they're in Ava and part of, obviously they're part of history. Obviously they're important episodes, but to consider them good, I just think that's a little bit much, personally. But, it is what it is.